I needed to let it sit, but I think I'm ready to talk about it now. Yesterday, I would have been way too emotional, but I want to look into some metrics and stuff and what really was the difference in this game. But the New York Rangers beat the Carolina Hurricanes in double overtime last night, 4-3 off a goal from Vincent Trocheck. Takes a 2-0 lead on the series, which is so huge for the Rangers. Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard to put into words what happened last night from a fan perspective. Just one of the most entertaining games I've ever watched. The last time the Rangers won a game that went past one overtime was 2012. And yeah, I mean, yesterday was pretty storybook and stuff, and it almost seemed like it's what a team of destiny does. And I'm not ready to call the Rangers that yet, but there were a lot of things that made the difference in this game. And first, like every video I've done so far, is special teams. Huge difference. Carolina 0 for 5 on the power play. Had 2 power plays in the overtime frame. Did not convert. The Rangers, 2 power play goals. One from Chris Kreider to tie the game at 3-3 in the middle of the third period. And then Vincent Trocheck's double overtime goal was also on the power play. Special teams win games, and this is the sustainable special teams model that the Rangers have. 5v5 play, yes, it needs to improve. I thought Carolina dominated a lot of the game yesterday at 5v5. They were coming in waves at times, and it was a little frustrating to watch, and I'm sure the Rangers were frustrated about that. But when you can convert and be opportunistic on special teams, that makes a huge, huge difference, and that's what New York did. And it was just huge. And it goes back to response. And I tweeted it yesterday, both after the first and after the second, and after the third. The Rangers need to respond. They were down 2-1 going into the second. What do? They respond. Goal by Alexei Lafreniere. They get the next goal. Down 3-2 going into the third. Need a response. They get it on the power play with Chris Kreider. And then Carolina outplayed them at the start of overtime, but the Rangers responded. They got their chances, and then they scored the next goal. And speaking of that next goal, that gets me to that next point. Igor Shesterkin was a wall. Over 50 saves. I'm pretty sure the number was 54. On 29 straight games, letting 3 or less goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs, second most in NHL history. He's insane. He's been the best goalie in the NHL since the All-Star break. And so when you have a guy like that, it's easy to be opportunistic, and you like your chances in a lot of games. And this is the difference in the Carolina series. It's goaltending. No disrespect to Freddie Anderson at all. He's been great, especially coming back from as hard of an injury that he's coming back from. A blood clot is hard to come back from, and it is a great story. And Freddie Anderson was great in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs against the Islanders. The Rangers have made him look not awful, because he did play pretty well yesterday, and he is a good goalie, and I'm not trying to disrespect him at all because he's a different goalie at home. They were opportunistic with him, especially just getting shots on the net and getting in front of him. One of the weaknesses, and they mentioned this on the ESPN broadcast, is Anderson loses it at his feet sometimes, and that's what happened yesterday, and that's why Trocheck was able to get it, and that's why Chris Kreider was able to get it to tie the game. So it's just so huge, and you just can't put enough emphasis on that, and goaltending makes a difference. And props to Shesterkin. He just played so well. And Rangers top 6 produce. Special teams win games, and it's going to be the case for the Rangers if they want to keep going on a run. A few negatives to come from the game. Obviously, it's hard to harp on them when you get such an exhilarating win. Jacob Trouba. Alexa, stop. My alarm. Jacob Trouba did not play well. Was on the ice for at least 2 goals. Really bad giveaway for Carolina to take the 3-2 lead. Gave it straight to Sebastian Aho. They bring it in the zone. Jake Gensel scores. Took 3 penalties. You can't have that from your captain. Peter Laviolette made a really good move, maybe season-defining, moving Keandre Miller to Braden Schneider's line and making them a pairing, and then Trouba and Gustafsson as the third. Gustafsson's been great this series, but Trouba really had a bad game yesterday. You can't have that. And it's not going to be taking him out of the lineup at all, but he's got to improve. And I think he knows that, and I think he'll be the first to say it. Other things, I think we're reaching the end of Matt Ratby. Yes, you could point at the Rangers' record with him. And yes, you could point about the factor he has on defenses. He played 4 minutes and 3 seconds yesterday in a double overtime game. You can't do that with 11 forwards, even if the other team shifts to 3 lines, which is what Carolina did. They left their 4th line off the ice for the majority of the frame. You need another 4th liner that's fast and stuff. And Rempe will come into his own, and I do fully believe he will be important for the Rangers moving forward. But for now, if Philip Heedle's ready, or Johnny Brodzinski, put in there and get some speed. But really, there's a lot of positives. You're up 2-0 against Carolina, and it's really hard to win 4 out of 5 when there's 2 Titans going at each other. And but then again, 2 years ago, Rangers were down 2-0. Carolina had a 2-0 lead, won their first 2 home games, and the Rangers came back, won that series. That series Home team won games 1 through 6. Rangers stole one in game 7. That could still happen here. This series is far from over. These are two teams that are going at one another. The games are close. 2 one-goal games. And so, yeah, it's going to be different in Carolina. Carolina is a very different team at home than they are at the road. Rod Brind'Amour gets changes in. They come out flying. The playoff crowd in Raleigh is electric. There will be a lot of Rangers fans, but it's huge. But anyway, Rangers get a huge win. So 6 out of 16, big goal. Best game of the playoffs so far, in my opinion, from a fan and someone who tries to cover the team. But as always, how about them Rangers? Game 3 tomorrow at Carolina. Can't wait for that one.